G'day, welcome back. Last week, I built the Mustang and got the Mustang on the road.
If you haven't seen that episode, go back and check it out. It's an absolute ripper. Got a Mustang for a steal.
This week, I'm putting which one of these huge boxes is it? That one. Putting the new fuel tank in the XC. I got the fuel tank from Rare Spares because previously I've had issues with the fuel tank that's in it now, has been in it for 50 odd years, and it's just full of rust. The carburetor just keeps sucking rust through and clogging up the fuel filters, causing all sorts of issues, unsavory issues. So today, I'm gonna pull out the old fuel tank, put the new fuel tank in, blow out the lines, get rid of all the rust that's in there, change the fuel filter, do all that, and get this XC running how it should be. How should an XC be running? It's a 50-year-old car. So today, the XC is getting some love. I've still got wood panels in here. I'm still doing the boot, installing this. So now the Mustang is done, I can get into doing the XC. And then I can continue with this boot install that's taken like weeks, months.
Now before I take this tank out, I should probably check to see if the one that I've bought is the same as this one.
I should probably check to see if the fuel tank that I've bought is the same as this fuel tank.
That's a bloody good idea, Matty. I'm glad you thought of it. So over to the massive Rare Spares box. I love new parts. I love new parts in big boxes because it's just exciting when you open it up. But this fuel tank is the exact same as the one that I've got. I'd have to be a bit of a silly goose to spend almost $1,000 on an incorrect part. But hey, we've all done it before.
Oh, look at it. I love new parts. I honestly would have thought there would have been a cap on that. That's a bit hair going because that's split. Now I know it's the right fuel tank, so let's pull this bastard out.
So this is where I also found out my fuel sender is a bit wonky because I drove this car in until it was on E. You know, just drain the fuel out naturally because there's no drain bung on this tank. Now, it was sitting above E, so I thought there'd be bugger all fuel in it. But as you can see, when I go to bench press this bloody thing out, look how much the car moves up when it takes the weight.
Jesus.
Yeah, there was way more than like 30, 40 litres of fuel still left in this thing. So, I mean, good to know that I wouldn't have run out of petrol, but not very good for this current situation. Anyways, didn't let that stop me from trying to lift it out manually like a silly goose.
There's so much fuel left in that.
Yes, there is. And right here, pretty much almost snapped in half because it hit something on the way up and then dropped down and jammed my fingers.
Snapped my fingers in half. Holy shit. Alright, so despite the needle pretty much being on E, there is probably about 40 litres of petrol still in that bloody tank. Because last time I lifted it out, I struggled a little bit, but I lifted it out and there was just over 20 litres in it. This, I cannot budge. And as you can see, as I was trying to remove it, it literally just dropped back down. It slipped and dropped back down and caught my fingers in between here, and that tried to slide down. So that was, you see the mark there where my fingers got caught like that, and it just sliced the skin off. So plan B, I might get the engine crane in to lift that out. I've got a 12-volt electrical pump that I'm using for the Clevo, but I don't want to run rust through it and pump the fuel out of this. So I'm just going to engine crane it out, tip the fuel out. And where do you get rid of old fuel? In the ocean, straight in the ocean. I'm going to walk down to the beach, tip the fuel into the ocean, obviously.
All right, so I got the engine crane in here. It was a little bit dodgy, picking it up from the center, having the fuel slosh around, and it was mucho unbalanced. But we get past these things. Now onto the fuel sender, which is also 50 years old and just totally bloody rusted into the tank itself. So a little bit of hammer action to get it loose, and then we pull it out and just see how absolutely cooked this thing is. No wonder it read E when it was not E. It was much closer to F. In fact, it was between E and F. What is between E and F? A, B, C, D, E, F. There's nothing between E and F. What the? Oh my god, this changes everything. Back on track now. I just took it over to the sink to scrub all the excess rust off and then give it a coat in the KBS Rust Blast. Then on to draining the fuel tank. As you can see, the liquid is just absolute rust water. Little bucketfuls into the jerry can until I filled up the jerry can and there was still a shitload left in the tank. Alright, so I've cleaned this up as best I can and I've coated it in the KBS Rust Blast. So I've scrubbed it, and then after I've scrubbed it, I've let it soak for about 30 minutes in the Rust Blast. Still looks like shit, but I did buy a new sender and that's already been shipped. So it's a public holiday here in Western Australia and they're in Victoria. So that'll be here this week. So I'll put this in here for now, and then when the sender rocks up sometime this week, I'll just put the new one in. But I kind of want to do a little drive.
But it's a beautiful day today and I want to drive the XC. So this is going in for now. Before new fuel tank goes in, gonna get some compressed air and blow out the line. Put like a bowl here or put a container here and just take out the fuel filter up the front and just put some compressed air through the line and blow out all the fuel that's in there now. Fuel line there, bucket somewhat placed nearby. If it shoots outside of the bucket, just scream out and let me know.
Little side note, you have no idea how close I was to putting an explicit graphic over this audio. So after blowing out the little bit of contaminated fuel that was still left in the lines, it was on to taking the old fuel filter out. So I thought I'd pour it out into a bucket and show you guys just how clogged up with shit this thing got within just 1.5 months of being on the car. I mean, as you could see from the fuel that I got out of the tank, it was just sucking up just pure rust liquid. So put a brand spanker straight back on, and then it's on to putting in the new fuel tank, and doesn't it just look fantastic against the nice black boots and a fresh steel fuel tank? Just makes the car look nice and fresh, I think. And then on to cleaning up the fuel filler neck spot where before it was just like gasket goop instead of an actual gasket. So getting all that stuff off with a plastic scraper before putting on a fresh cork gasket from Rare Spares and finishing the job up. Alright, tank is in and it's secured, so now time for some lead in the fuel. Yeah, I've got to put lead in every tank of bloody fuel I put in this thing because I'm still running the original cast iron head. So, in with some fresh fuel, shatter up, and we're good to go. Alright, fuel's in. Now I'm going to use some compressed air, pressurise the tank, try and squeeze that fuel up the line, up to the engine, give her a couple of cranks, and she'll start right away. Hopefully. Alright, fresh tank in now. I won't have any more issues with rust. I mean, you saw that tank. That thing looks horrible. I'm going to take this thing for a test drive because then I've got to come back and we've got to get the Mustang ready to take to the paint store. So I've got to sort of like take the front bar off, get the grill and all that sort of hard to get shit out, then roughly put it back on and drive it to the paint store. But for now, a test drive is in order. Alright, so we're testing out the fuel tank, guys. As long as we don't get stranded, I really hope we don't get stranded. It's a pretty warm day. But I mean, no more fuel issues. Sorry, Waffle's in the way there. I've strapped these guys in, so they've got these harnesses on and they don't like it whatsoever. As you can tell by Waffle's crying. No fuel delivery issues. We're good to go. It's driving nicely. And I know that I'm not sucking up shitty rust. The only thing I need to change is that fuel sender, which I've bought and should be here any time. And once that rocks up, we're good to go. Oh, all right, Waffle. No, I don't think strapping these guys in is work. Waffle is just doing anything to be on my lap. But we're not going through Macca's drive-through today because it is so bloody hot. And I don't want to put these guys through sitting in a hot car. Take these guys home. All right, next up, like I said, front bar off the Mustang. Well, not off the Mustang. I've got to drive it to the paint shop, but just making it easier for him to get it out, and I've got to take all the shit out of it. So I'm going to take it off, take the stuff out, and then like lightly put it back on, just put the top row of screws in there, and then drive it over to the paint shop down the road. And then finally the Mustang will be complete. It won't look like a Mad Maxi looking bloody thing. And the front bars on these Mustangs are so easy to get off. I've got it down pat now. Oh, also made a number plate plinth for the front bar. So that's where it'll mount to the bar. Got to get some countersunks for it, and then the number plate will mount to these brass heat certs that I insert into it. Yeah, 3D printed that out of ABS plastic so it can withstand the heat sitting on there. And that is at the angle of the front bar, the center of the front bar. So it slots on and holds the number plate straight 180.
then skip forward a week. I've now got the Mustang back from the paint shop and it looks nice. Got the bonnet completely repaired and yes, hello sugar. And the front bar done, of course, and that just looks so bloody clean now. Also, mounted the number plate plinth. Sugar's checking it out. Because that beats paying like $200 because you got to get the number plate plinth and then you got to get the number plate holder that suits it. I just 3D print it. It costs like 40 cents in materials and a little bit of time. Although I did go and spend about $100 on brass heat certs, but only because I wanted to use them in future projects. But still, it just looks so bloody nice. Hey, doesn't it, Waffle? Yeah, I feel ya. Can't get any work done when I got these two out the front. Classic golden retrievers. So yeah, now the Mustang's done, I've got to decide what is next. I feel like lowering it has to be on the agenda. It is getting detailed at the end of the month, so that's gonna look really bloody nice, because at the moment it's pretty filthy. Might not come across on camera, but it's pretty filthy. So just a short one this week. Fuel system's done in the XC, so now that whole fuel situation's sorted. The Mustang is done. Now what's next? Well, the obvious answer is put the Clevo, the 351, in the XC. It's a bit of a yarn, but I've just decided to run a standard ignition system in the XC, in the Clevo, just to get it running for now, because that works. So we start taking the V8 out of the XA, get the XA on a rotisserie, put the V8 in the XC, do some shuffling around, and then start the adventures of the V8 XC. Anyways, thanks for watching. Like I said, bit of a short one, bit of a nothing one this episode. See you guys in the next one, where it's gonna be that thing coming out, or first that thing running and then coming out. Make sure that it runs before I immobilize the XC. See you then.